One of the strength assessments that we'll do as a part of our class is the leg press strength assessment to measure our lower body strength. And the way we'll do this is a 5 repetition Submax strength assessment. We keep it to Submax for safety reasons, and if you think of it like risk reward, you can plug your Submax number into a formula, which I'll provide on Carmen, and estimate your 1 repetition maximum. So, for safety reasons, we'll keep it to a 5 repetition Submax leg press assessment, meaning you are going to work up to the heaviest weight that you can achieve 5 repetitions with good form. You want to achieve that 5 repetition Submax in typically 3 sets in the ballpark. Anything less than that, you risk not being warmed up enough and jumping too drastically in weight between sets. And any sets more than 3, 5 at the very most, you run the risk of getting exhausted and compromising the integrity of your numbers. So, as a golden rule, I say start off with about 50% of the weight that you think you can lift for 5 repetitions as your first set, and make jumps from there to achieve your 5 repetition Submax in that 3rd or 4th set. Each leg press machine is vastly different, so it makes it a little bit tricky, but I'll keep it to the basics that can apply to different types of machines. In general, when you set up the seat height, I suggest starting a little bit too low. So if you see where I'm setting up, you can see my knees are a little bit past 90 degrees. So like this would be a 90 degree. I start off a little bit lower than that because on my stacked weight machine, when I'm coming to the end of a repetition, if I were higher, if my seat setting were taller than what I have it at now, the stacked weights would hit the bottom with every repetition, which is not good for the machine, and it can compromise your form and the fluidity of the repetition. So instead, I start too low, right, within reason, so that when I get started and I come back down to parallel the stopping point, the weight stack is still hovering above the rest of the stacked weights. So that's the first thing. My feet are halfway up the board, right? So they're not too tall like that, and they're not too low, because if they're too low, then your knees are going to jut too far over your heels, or your toes, and your heels will not be able to stay down. So right in the middle, you want to have 3-point contact on your foot against the pad that you're pressing into. So the 2 sides of the ball of your foot and the heel, those are the 3 points. You want to press through those 3 points during all parts of every repetition. So handles right here, use them. My whole back is flat against the pad. I'm not arcing. My butt is not coming off the seat. Everything is flat on the seat, including my butt. Okay. So 3-point contact, use the handrails, press through the middle of the foot. We stop just short of lockout, right? So we're not locking out. If you've seen those nasty YouTube videos with the legs coming backward, that's why we don't lock out. Additionally, we want to keep the tension in the muscles, not letting it fall into the joints, okay? For effectiveness of the movement and for safety reasons. So this is where I finish just before lockout. I come back down until my knees are at a 90-degree angle. My thighs are about parallel with the foot pad. And I repeat for 5 repetitions. For strength testing, you really want to allow yourself adequate rest. I suggest a couple minutes at least in between your sets to allow full rest before you begin the next set at a much heavier weight.